Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. With that formless calling, his skin felt somewhat numb, his cells within boiling, including his bones, organs etc. This level of calling made Luo Feng's entire body shudder, almost like it was desperately telling him, "Come, quickly, come here. Your Majesty Luo Feng, where should we go? There are rubbish mountains all about." The black-skinned, white-robed guide asked. "There." Luo Feng pointed at a distant rubbish mountain. "Yes." The two guides complied and used their world energy to wrap Luo Feng. The three became a beam of light and headed towards that majestic mountain. It seemed close, but was actually very far away. At a speed of 100 kilometers per second, it took over 3 hours to get there. "Your Majesty can enter the mountain to look for treasures. The two of us will wait here. When you are done, you can call us," the black-skinned guide said respectfully. Luo Feng frowned, because he felt that the calling wasn't very strong as he flew towards the mountain. The mountain was like a large planet, with a diameter of hundreds of thousands of kilometers. After flying around, he flew behind the mountain. Luo Feng looked into the distant space with his back facing the mountain. "It's still further away. The thing that's calling me isn't here in this mountain, but in a much further place." Luo Feng looked curiously into the distance. There were many goods about. Far away, he could faintly see another rubbish mountain. Luo Feng couldn't fully confirm whether the item calling him was in that mountain. Anyway, it was in that direction. Luo Feng returned to the two guides. "Your Majesty is done already." The two were shocked at Luo Feng's return. It was too quick. "I don't wish to search in this mountain." Luo Feng shook his head and pointed into the distance. "Let's continue in that direction. I'm basing which mountain to search through my gut feeling. These absolute geniuses sure have weird temperaments, using gut feeling to search." He said this mountain earlier, then changed his mind so quickly. "Seriously. However, it's just our luck it was Long Ju Emperor that arranged us for him." The two sector Lord Pinnacle guides muttered within. Their expressions however were still passionate and respectful. "Yes, Your Majesty Luo Feng." They released their world energy again and wrapped Luo Feng. The three became a beam of light and flew. Continuous flying. Flying over a rubbish mountain, the calling still wasn't from that mountain. They continued. Mountain after mountain, they flew for 16 days straight. The two guides muttered within that this genius was hard to deal with, spending so much time just picking one mountain. However, they didn't dare go against him. Since it was Long Ju Emperor's order, they had to do their job well, flying non-stop. Rumble. They flew around a rubbish mountain and the formless calling caused Luo Feng's entire body to shudder. His blood boiled from within. He felt like his body was about to explode. "Right here. I want to look for treasure here." Luo Feng flew to their side and said. The two guides glanced at each other and sighed with relief. This Luo Feng had finally decided on a mountain to search. They flew for 16 days straight, maintaining a speed of 100 kilometers per second. How was that easy? "The two of us will wait here for you," the black-skinned, white-robed guide said. Luo Feng couldn't wait anymore, flying straight into that mountain. Watching Luo Feng swiftly head towards the mountain, becoming a little black dot and entering it, the two guides relaxed, stretching their muscles. The green-skinned guide said, "We sure are unlucky this time. Simply finding this one mountain was this troublesome. The next one will probably be the same. Grasp the time to rest. I'm preparing to go play some virtual games." The black-skinned guide stood in space, sending a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe network to play some games. Luo Feng was tunneling through the rubbish mountain. It had a diameter of hundreds of thousands of kilometers, with all sorts of rotten remains mixed within. Luo Feng was like a mole tunneling within. "It's close. Close." The closer he got, the more he felt the powerful calling. His entire body shuddered. After tunneling tens of thousands of kilometers deeper, he frowned. He could feel many messed up calls from all over. Some from the left, some on the right, some ahead. A total of over 10 calls with different levels of strengths. There were actually over 10 of them. It seems like there's more than one item. Luo Feng stopped a while, picking the strongest one to fly towards, simultaneously using his formless spirit energy to force apart large amounts of remains before him. creating a tunnel. After moving another 30,000 kilometers, he finally stopped. Ahead, there floated an armor fragment. The surrounding items were forced apart by his spirit energy. The ripples emanated from this fragment. Armor fragment. What is this? Luo Feng carefully examined it. This fragment was about the size of a normal book of earth. It was completely black, floating there. Luo Feng carefully approached it. As he reached about 5 meters away from it, the dead floating fragment suddenly jumped to life. It shook violently and rushed straight at Luo Feng, as fast as lightning, instantly reaching his right hand and touching his skin, trying hard to dig into his body. A green layer appeared on the surface of his hand. It was the cloud contact armor. It forcefully prevented the fragment from digging in. Luo Feng used his spirit energy to try and force it away, but he was shocked to realize, simply relying on his spirit energy, he wasn't strong enough to even stop it from trying to dig into his body. Immediately, thin vines extended from his fingers. It was one of the main 216 vines. This slender and thin green vine instantly wrapped about the fragment, its leaves gripping hard on it. The fragment struggled hard within. However, it was forcefully subdued by the cloud contact vine. Just what is this? It looks like something dead, but it tried to dig into my skin when I got close. Luo Feng frowned and pondered, and it emanates a calling to me, obviously. No one else that came here could feel it, and if they felt it, they would definitely have discovered it. Even if they didn't know what it was, they would still have taken it away. Trillions of years. Seeing many rotten remains about, it was obvious that this bunch of items deep within this rubbish mountain had been here since ancient times. There had been many people searching for treasures in Wulong Starfield before, yet none have taken it away. Weird. Why call out to me? Why can't others feel it? Luo Feng frowned. I'm not that special compared to others. Is it the Blood River energy? No, there are definitely many from the Virtual Universe Company that have absorbed the energy. Is it because I've trained in the nameless manual I discovered on Earth? Or is it because I'm from Earth? He had no way to confirm the reason, however he didn't dare let it enter his body. If it was beneficial, that would be good. However, if it was bad, it'd be too late to regret it. He flipped his hand and retrieved a silver world ring. This was the one Long Ju Emperor gave him. The world within was 100,000 kilometers wide and high. He could store whatever he found in the rubbish mountain in it, nothing more than that. And within Wulong Starfield's surveillance system, it could detect all objects within. Whatever he took would be calculated, and the moment the mass filled up the 100,000 kilometers area, it would naturally be recorded. I'll put the main core in the world first. Even if my Earth body encounters danger, it's no big deal. I'll just make another body. Luo Feng flipped his hand and a black stone appeared. This was the Mosha clansman in the shape of a stone. Within it lay the main core. With a thought, he tossed the stone into the silver world ring. Luo Feng had already left his soul imprint on this world ring when he was searching for treasure earlier. Alright, the main core is in the ring. Luo Feng looked at the black armor fragment. Come. The vines swiftly released the fragment, and the moment it did, it immediately rushed at Luo Feng's finger. The moment it came in contact with his skin, it became a black liquid that went through his skin. As it went in, Luo Feng could feel a sense of energy from within. It's that special. With a thought, a black armor appeared on his arm. This armor was exactly the same as the fragment before. This black armor could change from big to small. The biggest it got was only as big as the original fragment was. It covered his arm almost like an arm protector. What power! Luo Feng could feel like his arm had an incredible power. One punch was akin to a Sector Lord Pinnacle Warrior's strength. It was a strength this black armor gave him. Even though it came from the armor, it felt like it was a part of him. Unlike the cloud contact vine's strength, that only the vine could unleash. This armor, Luo Feng was in total control. Just one fragment has the strength of a Sector Lord level 9 warrior. Luo Feng was shocked. He couldn't care much about anything else, immediately moving on to search for the others. He tunneled through the rubbish mountain and searched through the items. They were all armor fragments. After a while, he had collected all the special items in this mountain. Plus the original one I found. There's a total of 18 black armor fragments, 1 silver fragment. Luo Feng had already stripped naked, allowing the 18 black fragments to enter his body. These 18 became black liquid, and the largest armor it formed, a black vest. However, the amount of strength it gave him was akin to over 20 sector Lord Pinnacle warriors. Just what is this special black armor fragment? Luo Feng looked at the black vest, shocked within. It actually gives me so much power. This is obviously still only a broken part of it. As for the silver fragment. Luo Feng looked at the palm-sized silver fragment in his hand. He had already tried. Only after forcing all the black fragments out of his body was he able to absorb the silver fragment. Just the palm-size fragment alone gave him the power of 5 sector Lord Pinnacle warriors. The silver fragment has 10 times the effect of the black. It's obviously higher in level. However, the two obviously don't work well together. Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng stood naked within the depths of the mountain, looking at the forced-out black fragments and the silver arm protector, his eyes gleaming. Who knows how long these fragments have been left thrown aside in rubbish mountains. Luo Feng looked at the black fragments, yet it was able to call out to me. If it isn't because of me being from Earth, it would probably be because of the nameless manual. He had thoroughly considered his situation. There were only 2 things special that were different from the other humans that have come to Wulong Starfield, without a doubt. One was because he was from Earth. The second was the mysterious metal board that held techniques within, its words within from the Flame God race. It was a powerful race independent of humanity in the universe. As it was a different race, they could naturally have their own training system, armor etc., and one may have to be trained in the nameless manual to be able to use it. These are all guesses. I need to test it to verify. The cloud contact vine spread over Luo Feng's body, forming a green armor. He forced out both the black and silver fragments and kept them in his internal world. Flying out of the rubbish mountain, he floated in space and focused on his sensing abilities, seeing if there are any other hints of the fragments calling out to him. There are? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, looking in another direction and smiling. My guess was right. These fragments were probably shipped here after an ancient race war from long ago. And as the machines cannot detect their special qualities, and the ones scanning them would deem them as worthless metals, hence they were placed in Rubbish Mountain. As there are many rubbish mountains, they could be scattered all over. There was a very weak feeling from the left side. Your Majesty, Luo Feng. The 2 guides saw Luo Feng coming over. They bowed respectfully. Let's go. Luo Feng said. Where to? To the nearest rest stop to universe travel, or to continue looking for rubbish mountains? The 2 guides looked at him. They were most afraid of going on a pointless short trip. The flight back would take 10 over days along with universe travel. It was better to continue searching around from nearby rubbish mountains. That was easiest for the 2 of them. Continue looking for rubbish mountains. Luo Feng said. Yes. The 2 were gleeful. Head in that direction. Luo Feng pointed after determining the calling. The 2 immediately released their world energy and brought Luo Feng there. After progressing about 3 to 4 days, they realized their joy was short-lived. This Luo Feng was extremely hard to please. They flew past many rubbish mountains, and yet he didn't even glance at them. They could only keep rushing forward, sending threads of consciousness into the virtual universe to relax within. After 21 days of flight, Luo Feng finally asked to stop. After flying 1 round about the floating mountain, Luo Feng determined that there was something calling him from within. You 2 can stay here. With that, he tunneled into the mountain and began searching for treasure. After a while, Luo Feng had found 9 black fragments and 1 silver fragment, simultaneously gathering a few tens of kilometer in diameter of metal and alloy remains. He had to put on an act, otherwise simply collecting these fragments. How could it fill up the 100 kilometers area world ring? After which he let the 2 guides bring him again to search for more fragments. As time passed, the 2 realized it was their bad luck to be placed with Luo Feng, because Luo Feng was purely relying on his senses to find rubbish mountains to search in. They would frequently have trips over 10 days to get to different mountains. After which they would use their ships to go through universe travel, stopping at certain points, not feeling anything. They'd immediately continue on to the next spot. You 2 can stay here. With those words, Luo Feng headed straight towards another floating rubbish mountain. Within the mountain, Luo Feng was already used to the calling of the fragments. He easily found 8 of them, 7 black and 1 silver. Currently, I have 118 black fragments, and 6 silver fragment along with 1 shard. Luo Feng flipped his hand and retrieved the items from his internal world. Instantly a blur of black fragments floated before him, along with a few silver fragments, and 1 shard. Luo Feng looked at the items. The effects of the black and silver fragments, he had some understanding of them, only the shard. It too had the power of calling, it probably came from the same place as the fragments, however he hadn't found a way to use it. Dripping blood on it. Touching skin. Spirit energy. Luo Feng had tried all methods he had heard and knew on it, however it was useless against it. Almost like it was a very normal piece of a shard without any worth, even its sharpness was average. The only special thing about it was its calling ability, hence Luo Feng had collected it. No matter, right now I already have 118 black fragments, it almost covered my entire body last time, with these new 7, it should be complete. With a thought, the cloud contact vine swiftly entered within his body. Almost like arrows, the 118 fragments shot at Luo Feng, and as it touched him, they swiftly became black liquids that entered his skin, beginning to gather within his body. The mysterious black liquids seemed to become one with his skin and muscles. As they made contact with each other, they swiftly condensed and grew more and more. Rumble. A huge change happened. What? Luo Feng was shocked, carefully scanning his body. When they had condensed to a certain level, a huge change occurred. They forced out the excess black liquid from Luo Feng's body, all purely from the black fragment's will. 2 black fragments gradually floated out from Luo Feng's chest, after which they fell. Saturation. The black liquid within Luo Feng had reached a level of saturation, they could no longer take in anymore. I knew there was no way I could simply keep adding to it, there had to be a limit. Now it's saturated. Luo Feng felt the change happening within, the black liquids rumbled as they reached their limits, it was so clear Luo Feng could hear it in his ears. The change stopped. This is. Luo Feng looked at his bare chest, on it was a black engraving. A very complex word, yet he recognized it as that of the flame god race. A simply word, soldier. Soldier. Luo Feng looked at the soldier print on his chest, after which the word hid itself, even though one couldn't see it visibly, Luo Feng could still feel it hidden in his chest. After all of the black liquid's energy was completely infused in the print, and every time Luo Feng had absorbed the fragments, the moment he forced them out of his body, they would automatically break apart into the original fragments. This time, however, they had completely combined to form the soldier print. Soldier. Luo Feng frowned, flame god words. Looks like it's really because of the nameless manual. This soldier, is it from the flame god race, or some mysterious race's lowest level soldier? This mysterious armor, I'll call it the soldier armor then. Luo Feng thought. With a thought, he triggered the print and immediately black threads covered his entire body. Simultaneously a malevolent black armor appeared on his body, with a helmet, and boots etc. An incredibly energy poured through his body, the armor felt like his skin. This strength was just like his own. With his senses he guessed that it was probably about 80 to 90 sector Lord Pinnacle's strength gathered. Feels terrible. Luo Feng, who was covered in the mysterious armor, felt pain throughout his body. After becoming the master of this soldier armor, he knew basic information about it. This armor, after it forms the print, only then does it become a perfect armor. It can grow bigger and smaller, infinitely malleable in size. However, it all has to be triggered by the body. It has huge requirements on the body. I'm currently only Domain Lord level 9, my body is too weak. I cannot fully withstand the strength of this mysterious soldier armor. Soldier armor, it contained energy within. Just his earth body alone could trigger 80 to 90 sector Lord Pinnacle warrior's strength. However, this was but a part of the armor. The main thing was Luo Feng's body was too weak, and had no capability of fully utilizing it. And however big Luo Feng could grow, the armor would follow. Naturally, because it was controlled by the body. My body is weak. However, the golden horned beast's body is very strong, and it's also trained in the nameless manual. Luo Feng was happy within, immediately forcing out the armor. A black round ball instantly flew out, and on it, there was a faint soldier print. With a thought, the soldier ball vanished into his internal world. Internal world. The mountain range-like golden horned beast was lying in the grass when the soldier ball appeared. Howl! The beast extended its right claw at the ball, and the ball immediately became a liquid that flowed into the beast's body. As it was a complete soldier ball, naturally, the word soldier appeared across the beast's scaled chest, after which it disappeared within. The beast stood up. He howled and triggered the power of the print. The print shot out trillions of black threads that covered every bit of the golden horned beast. In an instant, all of its scales, including its horns and claws, were covered in a very thin layer of black armor, making it look completely black. Even its gold engravings were completely covered. Howl! The golden horned beast felt immense power flowing within. He howled in joy. It could almost feel no stress on its body, getting even more thrilled with the feeling. This was probably the limit of strength the armor could produce. At this time, the amplitude strength of the beast was at a shocking level. It had reached the level of 1000 Sector Lord Pinnacle Warriors. This was the true strength of the armor. Deities of the world. The golden horned beast howled, immediately unleashing its natural ability. Its over 1,200 kilometers body and tail began to shrink, getting faster as it shrank. In the blink of an eye, it became a little beast only 100 kilometers long. As its bone and muscle density, along with its scales etc. all rose, its body was naturally much more powerful. And mixed within each scale and claw was a very thin layer of black armor. The energy it held was infused within the beast's body. It was a terrifying amount of strength. It's exactly as I expected. The black-clothed Luo Feng stood beneath the huge golden horned beast and looked up. The beast had already pushed the armor to its limits earlier, even unleashing deities of the world. It still triggers about 1000 Sector Lord Pinnacle amount of strength from the armor. This is probably its limit. However, it's already heavenly enough. 1000 Sector Lords, its pure strength alone, should be akin to a powerful undying general. The black-clothed Luo Feng muttered. Previously, he had relied on the golden horned beast to fight the flame undying, hence he had a rough understanding of an undying strength. That flame undying was a very normal undying. His pure strength alone should be about 100 times a Sector Lord Pinnacle. And when the golden horned beast unleashed its skills, it was 330 times a Sector Lord Pinnacle. However, the flame undying did have a grasp of the complete flame origin laws, and even though Luo Feng had a rough grasp of the beast god presence, it was still shallow. His origin law comprehension and study time was still too short. Compared to an undying with a full grasp of the laws, the difference was huge. The difference in the law comprehension made it so that he had to rely on his basics to fight back, hence the two were at a stalemate. A normal undying's strength with his undying energy, which was about 100 times that of a Sector Lord Pinnacle. He estimated that an undying general close to official level should be about 1000 times that of a Sector Lord Pinnacle. Black-clothed Luo Feng stood on the grass and pondered as he rubbed his chin. An official level close to Emperor level, just his body strength alone, should be about 10,000 times that of a Sector Lord Pinnacle. And a Pinnacle Emperor, if calculated, his body alone should be able to hit 100,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle level. Luo Feng knew quite a bit about undyings, even though there was very little about undyings within his inherited memories. Just his primal region privilege allowed him to study quite a bit of it. Undying levels, the difference in their strengths were shocking. Just their bodies alone had huge differences, because undyings would spend endless amounts of time training their god bodies, firstly reaching the undying body level. This alone was the dream of many. As their bodies grew stronger, their bodies too would evolve, reaching true Yang Emperor's level. His body alone was incredibly intrepid. Along with origin laws, they could dominate the universe. 100 to 1000 Sector Lord Pinnacle, normal undying. 1000 to 10,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle, official level. 10,000 to 100,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle, Emperor level. Luo Feng muttered, "This is just my rough estimate, however from the information I've gathered, my accuracy should be over 60%. Luo Feng's calculation speed was shocking, his reasoning speed was extremely high too, plus he could read up on many things within the virtual universe company network, plus his interaction with his teacher, True Yang Emperor, interaction with Dylan and fighting the flame undying. Thus he came up with this. Naturally, this all involved only the most basic of strength and usage. In terms of origin, lore, and skills. To the Emperor, official and general level, whether it was the most basic undying body for these 3 levels, or in terms of origin laws, the difference was huge. Hence it created a huge difference between each of the levels. If my calculations are correct, early Emperor level, just their bodies alone should only be about 10,000 to 20,000 times that of a Sector Lord pinnacle. Luo Feng thought, and I have my million Sector Lord army, one combined attack, the energy produced, even an early level Emperor level would have to dodge the attack. Luo Feng was very happy after acquiring the mysterious soldier armor. After leaving that rubbish mountain, he continued to search for others. A ship was flying in the dark universe. Within the control room, 2 white-robed guides stood there, occasionally glancing at Luo Feng's gaze. They felt a sense of helplessness. "Let's stop here, let's go to the nearest stop point," Luo Feng said, full of fighting spirit. "Your Majesty, we cannot stop," the black-skinned guide said. Luo Feng turned to look curiously at them. Both of them looked back. "What's going on?" Luo Feng frowned and asked. Beside, the green-skinned guide bowed respectfully, before speaking slowly, "Your Majesty, the 2 of us have already accompanied you around the rubbish mountains for a year. Every treasure hunt period is at most a year." "Ah." Luo Feng was stunned. His time was up. "We already received orders from the Wulong Starfield system telling us to bring you and leave." The green-skinned guide spoke slowly. He couldn't hide his fatigue. How could he not be tired? An entire year, the 2 had almost never rested, following Luo Feng about to search through the mountains. Occasionally they would fly continuously for over 20 days, suddenly stopping, however, before even half an hour passed. They would once again head out to a distant mountain. They hadn't rested properly in a year. This was the first time the 2 had met such a difficult client. "Ah, so the time limit is up." Luo Feng nodded. "Then let's return." The 2 exchanged glances. They were finally free. "Right, you 2 should also have treasure hunting missions, right?" Luo Feng frowned. When I spoke to Long Ju Emperor earlier, he had mentioned that other than obtaining the world rings to hunt after purchasing goods, one can come individually to hunt for treasures. It seems that 1 mixed element can buy a small world ring, 10 mixed elements for a medium ring, and 100 mixed elements for a large ring. Also, one can also buy extra treasure hunting time, 1 year, 10 years, even a 100. The 2 guides' expression changed. "Right, there was such a mission, as the rubbish mountains themselves hardly have any profits, and the cost of maintaining them was quite high, hence they came up with such systems for those that wanted to try their luck. It was a win-win for everybody, why not? Rubbish Mountain Treasure Hunt Mission." The black-skinned guide's expression grew heavy. "Yes, there is." They didn't dare lie. "Ah." Luo Feng smiled and nodded. "When we head back, I'll buy a world ring and treasure hunting time. You 2 do a very good job. When I continue my hunt, will you 2 continue to help me lead the way?" The 2 shuddered within. This level of fast flying without any rest, was it going to continue? 1 year. 10 years. 100 years. This was hundreds to thousands of times more tedious than their surveillance job. "Ha ha." Luo Feng laughed loudly. "Just joking, maintaining a speed of 100,000 kilometers per second, and flying for an entire year, anybody would be tired. I'll get another guide." Only then did the 2 let out sighs of relief. "Your Majesty," Luo Feng. The 2 bowed, feeling regretful. "Humans are not machines, you don't have to say anything." Luo Feng laughed. Over this year, Luo Feng acquired a total of 132 black fragments, and 7 silver fragments along with 1 shard, of which the 116 black fragments formed a complete soldier armor. On average, every month he would get about 11 black fragments and half a silver fragment. The golden horned beast has a complete soldier armor, my earth body should get one too. Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng bought a medium world ring, and 1 year's time of hunting time. Naturally, the management arranged for another 2 guides for him. Luo Feng, you are currently in the Domain Lord level. Training is the most important at this level. Longju Emperor looked at Luo Feng. He had come personally to send him off knowing his treasure hunt time was over. He didn't expect Luo Feng to continue his treasure hunt. Treasure hunting in Rubbish Mountain is just for fun. Don't waste too much time here. I understand. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. If you get any huge treasure, you have to tell me. Whatever valuable items you get, I can help you sell at an extremely high price. Longju Emperor said. Definitely. After exchanging a few more words, he and the 2 new guides once again entered the starfield, heading towards more Rubbish Mountains. Luo Feng had already carefully examined the soldier armor. It was very mysterious, containing power within. However, with the main body in control of the strength it supplied, one's body had to be strong enough to fully utilize its power. Other than that, the armor had the ability to block even spirit energy, meaning spirit attacks would lose about 90% of its power from the armor. Of course, whether the omnipotent undying energy would be blocked by the armor, Luo Feng was still unclear. Luo Feng wasn't an undying yet, he had no way to test it. Triggering all of its strength, I require a Sector Lord Pinnacle body. Luo Feng thought, obviously this soldier armor was prepared for Sector Lord Pinnacles. A Sector Lord wearing this armor would have strength akin of a normal undying. However, normal Sector Lords cannot withstand an undying soul attack. That's probably why this armor also has the ability to weaken soul attacks. Only that way can a Sector Lord Pinnacle wearing this armor truly stand up to an undying. Luo Feng was shocked within. Just who was it that created this mysterious armor? Just the soldier armor alone was so absurd. The higher quality silver fragments, what armor would it form? This was definitely a terrifying race. It was easy to see that one should never belittle any race surviving in the universe. Humanity is a pinnacle race, they should have many trump cards too. It's only because my position is still low and I'm oblivious to them. Luo Feng thought. In the blink of an eye, another year passed and Luo Feng finally decided it was time to leave Wulong Starfield and return to Earth. Part 1 end here.